Stephen. Stephen, how you doing?
I'm fine. How are you, Mitch?
Good, good, good. So, big news here. You decided after 30 years that it was time to move on from Ratt. What's the story?
Well, I think I pretty much laid it out there with
Right.
the release with my management, and
Yeah.
things lay as they are. Unfortunately, and that's where it stands. I didn't. Obviously, I created this monster that obviously got way out of hand, and in the controls of people who really didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, it's too bad because you had put out that great Infestation album 3 or 4 years ago, which was absolutely fantastic, and of course you got Juan Croucier back in the band, and now
Mm.
you're going back out solo. But so tell me then, what are your plans for moving forward as a solo artist? Is there an album coming soon? Is there a tour coming soon? What are we doing?
Well, I've been really trying to get a handle on my fourth solo record, but I pretty much take things as they come. It's in no rush. I have a different system of releasing this new record, and somebody else decided they're going to come out with a record with the same title. So it's not like they did their homework and said, oh, there's another Sucker Punch out there. But so now I'm just going to release a few songs or maybe a song a week until there's 13 songs, because I like that number. And after 13 songs, we'll release it as a CD. And I've got a great band, and Eric Ferrantino's, who's been my guy for years, and now I have like the original Mickey Ratt guitar player, Chris Hager, back in my solo band. A great studio with Matt Thorne, where I've done all my stuff. So we're working on getting the solo record out, and that's not saying there won't be another Ratt record. It just won't be under a circumstance of a band going into the studio and this and that. I just won't be playing in that band anymore, and pretty much put that to rest.
But yeah, I know that on the record contract you had signed for Infestation, it was a 2-album deal. So is there a chance that you might do this sort of studio magic where you record in your place and they record in their place, and through the internet you get an album made, or not at all?
Well, as I mentioned to my manager and the label representative today, is, hey, I'm still committed to this record. I just don't want to be involved with my band, or this band, that I created 30 years ago. And, it's been 30 years. I don't need to beat a dead horse, or I don't need to prove anything. I don't need to do a lot of things misconstrued, or whatever people think, that they really don't know, as far as how we all live and how we survive, and financially or otherwise. But I really don't have to worry about some things other people in this band have to worry about. So I'm just, my offer's out there. Hey, I still want to do this record, and it'll be done when I decide it's going to get done. And Warren and I actually wrote a great song months ago at MT Studios, my bass player's studio. And if that's the last thing that gets out and the only thing, it's a good thing, But I said I'd do it, but I never want to be involved with my band again. That's just the bottom line.
Does that track have a title that you're willing to share at this point, or save it for later?
There is a title, but I think I'm going to go in and rework some of the lyrics, and there is some stuff that needs to be done. And it's interesting because I've actually been in contact with Beau Hill, and most of the guys are so against this gentleman who really created the band and the music with us. To me, he's still a viable commodity with the Ratt sound and what we did and created, in out of the cellar, and whether it be my solo stuff he's involved with, or I throw him this one song if it's the only song. I would love to have Beau Hill back into the mix, but it's up to him. It's I know how these other droogs feel, unfortunately, but to me, I love Beau, and I've never had a discrepancy. And it's like people don't know a lot of things about the inner workings of this band. Right. I mean, it seems to be this thing to where somebody's spewing out all this egomaniacal stuff, and people get it and they think that's the way it is. It's so false. There's so much more involved. But I love Beau. If he got a hold of this one song, he would probably make it a hit. And if he gets a hold of my solo stuff, even better. It's irrelevant to me. I mean, look, it's 30 years later, be it Ratt or my own stuff, I'd still appreciate Beau involved,
Yeah, it's funny how certain producers capture certain sounds. When you think Aerosmith, you think Jack Douglas, and when you think, Cheap Trick, you're thinking Tom Werman. When you think Kiss, you think Bob Ezrin. And same thing with Alice Cooper, by the way. What is it about Beau that just understands the Ratt sound, the Stephen Pearcy sound?
Well, we actually created each other together. Mm-hmm. When Beau came into the picture, he was a staff producer, and it was one of those things. It was just a magical thing. We crossed paths with this guy, and he picked Round and Round. I mean, I don't care what anybody in the band says. He heard this song. It was not finished. And if it wasn't for him, Round and Round would never have been a hit. We have never would have been on the books or sold whatever, how many records we have sold. It's irrelevant. But Beau and I, had this great system as far as how we recorded my voice, how he recorded the band. He got the job done. He did what he was supposed to do, and he stayed true to it. Even when we had Mike Stone involved and it fell to shit, he was brought back and he cracked the whip. But we had a system. And, when you get into a studio, I mean, I was wide open and still am with a great producer is, what do you want to hear? Well, try this. We'll try that. And Beau and I, came up with a system of how we recorded my voice, and I still use that technique, whether it be my solo projects or anything else, Arcade even, or Vertex, anything I've done. I still use Beau Hill's format.
Technique,
of how I record my voice. And there's no auto-tuning. There's no nothing for nothing. It's like Page recording Plant. He recorded Robert Plant, and doing a few takes of the same lyric, same song, and makes it work, and there you have it. Beau is pretty much like that, with me. To speak. It might be different with other bands, but we had a great system, and I never forgot it. I always kept it in my brain,
You mentioned Arcade. Is there a chance that you might revive Arcade and call Fred Curry up and get the guys back out there?
Yeah, Freddie and I have already been talking about that long ago. Not even the past, weeks or months. Huh. Freddie and I have always talked about...
and
it's ironic. It's ironic because I just heard "Cry No More" on Sirius today, and it's like they're playing it, and it's like that was a great record, and we wrote great songs, and it's wide open. I don't know. I'm just right now trying to get settled in, and just staying on track and doing what I do, but doing it at my pace, and that's where it's at.
Yeah, and then let me just ask you one last thing here. For years, people have said, you got to get Juan back in the band, and you finally did. What did it mean for the sound of Ratt for those couple of years where he was actually back?
Oh, it was incredible. I mean, you know, as much as some people would say, you know, I just like suck or whatever, I think that's such a compliment because I'm old school. I'm from, you know, Led Zeppelin's 70s school,
Mm-hmm.
early Aerosmith, and to where you just sang and you ad-libbed and you're different every night. You know, if you want to hear the record, play the record. If you want to go to a live show, expect the unexpected,
Yeah.
you know, and that's where that falls in a nutshell. You know, I like being unpredictable. I don't like singing the same thing every night, and I have no reason to. Otherwise, I'd be some robot out there, you know. So if I can get off, you'll get off, you know.
Yeah, it's strange though to see Juan come back and then it fall apart. Hopefully he'll join you on your solo tour because that would be very cool.
Oh, I got to tell you, when Juan came back, you know, and it was like 1980s again because, you know, I knew exactly how he would cover me or how he would sing, and he knew the same thing. You know, Juan knew the same thing. Okay, he's going to sing this low, I'm going to sing this, and if he doesn't do that high, I'm going to do this mid. So we had this total instinct, you know, that never went away. And it's obviously if you work with somebody for, you know, however many years, it's computed, you know, in your brain. And Juan's amazing. He's a great singer, and
great,
you know,
background vocalist.
It was great. Oh yeah, I mean, look, the guy can sing lead if he wanted to, you know, but for him to come back, and as he was hoping, as I would, that it would work and things would gel in business in every way, and it just didn't. And unfortunately, through a lot of terrible things that have been going on for quite a while, it just came to a head. And, you know, like I said, I just kind of, I don't need it, and just had enough, and just kind of pulled out. And look, I'm going to go out there and I'll play my rap music. I wrote every song, or co-written every song with some of the guys, and, you know, but it wasn't written with the drummer, that I can say. And, you know, so, you know, I'll be playing the same music and doing a lot of good stuff. And so I'm content. I'll just do it when I do it. And we're moving along.
By the way, it's funny that you mentioned the drummer, because I saw some of the YouTube videos with sort of the guy who replaced him while he was, you know, getting rid of his neck injury there, Jimmy DeGrasso, and the band sounded great with Jimmy, and that's no insult to anybody else, but the band just sounded like you were locked in.
Well, you know, that's the difference between, you know, I don't need to bad rap anybody. I'm just saying
that's not the point either.
You know, you get a great drummer like Jimmy, or even my drummer Greg D'Angelo from White Lion. You know, you get somebody who locks in, you know, and they don't care about ego. They don't care about anything else. They just want to play, you know, good songs and do their job. Then you have this great sound, and it was night and day. Besides the drama and, you know, these other ridiculous things, it was so smooth. And Jimmy's a great drummer. I mean, it was night and day. And the band even, you know, looked around at each other and went, "Oh, this is incredible. Tempos are perfect. You know, we sound like a band." You know, it's not all over the place, but it was a good thing. You know, I mean, much respect to Jimmy. You know,
it'd be he was really great. And let's just finish with this. In the press release, you said you're proud of the legacy of the band, of Ratt. So after 30 years, how do you sum it up? What is the legacy? How do you put a period at the end of this sentence?
Well, you know, I mean, the misconception is that I was just this like singer guy who did whatever. Well, that's not the truth. I wrote a lot of the music, if not a lot of the songs, on my own as the EP, and a lot on the cellar. And contrary to what people might think or what they're told, it's my music. I wrote a lot of these things. I arranged a lot of these songs, and it's like Juan and me writing Lack of Communication, and if you didn't like my lyrics, it worked. We wrote all these great songs. I wrote. I'm a guitar player first and foremost.
Right.
I don't know if people know this or if they really care. I don't. Publishing speaks for itself, but I'm content. I have, we've sold a lot of records. This music will live way beyond any of our lives, and it's all great. My kid will be happy one day, and, it's all that matters. I got into this to have a good time, and if I could write 10 more books, because that's what it would take to explain the story of this band, I would.
That's if the lawyers would ever let you release it.
Yeah, they wanted the Dirt Part 2, and, Simon Schuster, so they got whatever they got, and the next one will explain the reality. But, it's a lot of it's my music, and I wrote it and co-wrote it with some great guys who wrote great music, Juan, Robin, Warren, but it was ours. And nobody, besides a couple co-writers here and there, which was really a wrong way to go at one time in our career. But, I'm happy with what I've done, and it doesn't matter. I still write. I write all the time. I write for, shows and TV, and so I just do what I do. I don't rely on one thing to satisfy me, per se, But as long as I can entertain myself, I'm happy, So it doesn't stop here. I'm going to go out and do some solo shows all year long, and we're going to have a good time. I got Eric Ferrantino's, Matt Thorne on bass, Greg D'Angelo on drums, Chris Hager on guitars, who was the original guitar player, and Mickey Ratt played his in Rough Cut a bit, and we're happy guys, man. We have a great studio, a lot of business stuff going on, and it's all good. I don't have time to waste entertaining, negative
vibes or whatever,
anything from anybody, So, but hey, I appreciate everybody who came to the party, and it's not over. It's just a new beginning, and it's a good thing. It was a long time coming,
I've known you for quite a few years now, and I've always loved your solo shows because, for me, at the end of the day, Ratt is really your voice. It's Stephen Pearcy's voice. You can put another singer in Ratt, and it's no longer Ratt. You need that voice, and so when you're in a club somewhere and you hear Round and Round right in your face with you singing, that's it. It's all I need. That's the music right there.
Well, like I said before, I'm old school. I'm new school, old school. I the guys I grew up with listening to, Eric Bloom, Blue Oyster Cult, David Lee Roth, Tyler, Robert Plant. If you go back and listen to what these guys did, when they did it, that's where I came from, and that's where I've learned it. I didn't learn this systematic way of being this anal retentive, bite a towel and try to get through a perfect pitch tune thing. No, I'm having a party. You want to go?
Let's go.
Come on down. Otherwise throw a record on, save your money, and buy another 6-pack.
That's a good one. Hey, you just mentioned Mickey Ratt. Jakey Lee was part of that stuff, and he's just come back after all these years. Have you been following any of that? Have you talked to Jakey? Because I just talked to him the other day, and he looks and sounds great. Are you following any of Red Dragon Cartel and his sort of return to the scene?
Well, Jakey, he didn't spend much time, almost a year when he was with Mickey Ratt formation, and actually taught Warren a lot of the early riffs of the songs I wrote back in the day, because they were roommates as they were making the switch. That's where a lot of those solos came from Jakey. But Jakey says we never wrote any original songs, but sorry, Jake, we actually did write a couple, and I'll release them soon enough. But I hear the bands. I mean, I love Jake. He came down to see one of our shows in Vegas, and we ran into him, and it was great. I mean, I love Jake. He has such a unique sound.
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
And I wish him well, because and he actually we're in the same issue of Burn, their anniversary, Burn magazine
in Japan.
Japanese. Yeah, we are in the same issue on their anniversary, and it's it's ironic, because he thought I was a pain in the ass, and I'm like, I think you have more of a pain in the ass now, pal. But I wish him well. But Jakey, I've always admired Jakey.
It's just nice to see him after 20 years or whatever it's been, to actually sort of be back and touring and playing guitar again. It's exciting to see, and it's exciting to see that you've got a great future coming up. Hopefully, some Canadian dates will be part of the Stephen Pearcy solo tour. I'm hoping. Yeah, we've got a lot going on and set up, and I've got a lot of other projects going on. I've been working on for quite some time. I'm going through this transition here, but we've got some good business stuff going on for music and movies and etc. But are you still doing the cars? The Top Fuel.
Oh yes, cars? The race cars. Yes, they're still happening. The last thing I did was the with James Day. Top Fuel Records Funny Car, and so that takes time too. It just doesn't happen. It's a whole nother business. But I'm still at the races. I'm still doing the looking for the sponsorship, and with my racing partner Dan Pukowski, we'll get something going here real soon. One step at a time. There's just so much chaos that's been going down recently, but it's all good. I wish no ill will on anybody. I'm just moving on. And enough is enough, and I've given my time, created this beast, and I've always said it, no disrespect to Carlos pulling in or anybody who took Robin's place, but Ratt would have never and will never be the same without Robin. And to me, that's just such an important part of what we created in the beginning, because Robin and I created this beast together. And, when Robin was out of the picture, through default, I knew it then, it was over. So all we did was just go through somewhat motions and give people something. And that's, all I can do now is just, hey, play my songs, and that's all I'm going to do. And, dwell into the, the archives of my solo stuff. I'm working on the 4th solo record, and take it from there, and have a good time.
Well, that's the good news. The good news about leaving Ratt is that you're not retiring from the music business. You're just stepping out of one project and going into another, and that's great.
Well, of course not. And and I got to tell you, I do appreciate everybody, that have come to the party, man. I mean, look, we've all grown up together. The fans. I hate this fans and all this thing. They're friends. Fans are friends.
Supporters and fans.
So I hate all this weird stuff that people conjure up, but they're our friends, and they've grown up with us, and their kids are going to the show, and I mean, it's the most brilliant thing. So look, I'm going to go out there, do my thing, as I always have, But as I mentioned many times before, is one day I'll just throw my mic down and say, hey, look, I'm done doing all of this. But until then, I'm going to go out, have a great time, and do it when I want to do it. And if people want to come to the party,
come on
down.
Well, Well, let's hope you're not throwing down the mic anytime soon. There's no 5-year plan, I hope, right? You're talking 15 years from now. Okay. All right, good.
No, I look, no, I have such a great time going out there. I love meeting people. I still love hanging and, maybe not as party as much, but enough to enjoy what I do.
And other than that, the health is good. Everybody, you're fine.
Everything's copacetic, man.
Good.
I'm sitting here with my dog, and if you piss him off, he'd bite you in the face.
See, I don't do that though. Dogs love me. So there you go. All right. So Stephen, I just want to say thank you, and I'm just going to hang up on this interview, and I'll just hold on the line, and I'll just talk to you for a little bit more. But let me just turn off this recording, and thanks for having taken the time. Always a pleasure. It's been 15 years of doing interviews together, I think, something like that, 15 or 20 years.
Yeah, brother, it's a pleasure, man.
It's been a long, long time. So hold on there.